You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
The ranting continues. I am joined by my friend James Lott Jr., the president and founder of the new media network, JLJ Media. Welcome back to Grant's Rants.
I know, Rant Rudder. I love coming on your show. It's been a while. I usually come for the big numbers, so I'm glad to be back.
Well, you know, I've had 5 different people on to celebrate the 5 years, and you represent you've been to so many of the group panels that I've had. I always tried to have the panels on the 5s and 10s, you know, the 25s, the 30s, the 35s. And, obviously the whole world has stopped, so I'm unable to do that now. But I miss the panels, and I think you were just this is how we met, was doing panel podcasts. So you're such a great panelist. I had to have you here for this.
Thank you, Grant. Back at you. I'm a big fan of yours, so yeah, thank you. I'm glad. Congratulations on 5 years. I know it's like to have a show. I had a show just hit 5 years also, and that's just too incredible that you would do something for 5 years.
Yeah, well, James, you were I started this podcast in the beginning, one of the very first guests, and we recorded out of the West Hollywood Library in the beginning, and it was really hard to find a quiet space back then. I had a roommate. It was a whole thing, so I really needed to figure it out. But James has such a booming voice. That was the last time we could record in that library. Isn't that great?
Voice that's loud. I can't help it, kids. It makes me money. Makes me money.
And you know what? That was episode 10. So, that was a while ago for this show. So, just goes to prove, I wanted to have a good balance here, people. But, mainly, I believe we connected over Big Brother and doing the after show for that. So, here we are. Years later, talking about it here on the podcast.
I know. I did the Big Brother after show for, I think, 3 seasons at AfterBuzz TV, and you were a person. I had a great panel of people there too. And I recently posted a throwback picture, and we all kind of comment and then you were part of it, and we had a great time. And I've watched Big Brother since episode 1, season 1.
I came in around 16, so I really don't hold a candle to the knowledge that you have about the show. But I'm watching it. I think I missed the boat because I like the old school players. Let's talk about the All-Stars. I don't like anything passive aggressive. That's the one thing I think anyone who knows about me, anything about me, is I like in your face aggression. Now, look, this is a competition show, so I'm a little more nitpicky with Housewives and being really aggressive and mean. But this is a competition, so I don't understand why people can't lie, they can't argue, they can't backstab. Why everyone has to smile to your face and then backdoor everyone? So I don't like the new way of how the game is being played. Do you feel like there's a difference?
I think the old school players actually are more aggressive than the newer ones. And we saw that with Janelle, Kaser, Enzo. A few of them, they're very Memphis. They're very much the old. I wish there were more old school people on there. But to answer your question, I think it's always been kind of that way because people don't know. A lot of sheep following happens on this show that bugs me every season. And it's make the move. Just make the move. But in their defense, you have to think 2 or 3 moves ahead when you make a move. You can't just make a move for that.
Right.
You have to think ahead. So it's. I mean, I could never do the show. The show I could do Amazing Race. I could do all these other ones. I could never do Big Brother. It's too complicated for me.
I rarely come out of the show liking any of the people because I feel like they have a lot of great talking heads. This is the big weakness. They're gonna make moves, and nobody ever really does. I don't see anyone being that aggressive. So when I look at the old school players and I hear them speak on how they conducted things, I feel like they at least took a little bit more of a chance and risk. I don't see that happening with the newer group, and I can't say I'm really we'll get into some of the players, but I don't know. I did not know the old school players whatsoever. Of course, being in the universe, you hear of these names, but I have since gone back with it. For a great example is Janelle. I have done my homework. Yes. I spotted her early on and was like, this is someone special. And so I studied up, and I gotta say, I'm like many online, I'm devastated she's gone, but I really like her as a person. I really do.
She's the queen. I think even other players have said that Janelle is the queen of Big Brother. And for a long time, Dr. Will, which was an early player, was the king. I mean, there are people who really did play the game. And with Janelle, she was somebody who literally is the leader in winning competitions, the most wins in a season. Like she was, when she had to break it down and win to save her. I mean, there was one season they kept putting her up and she was like, keep doing it. And she kept taking herself on. They were like, this bitch won't leave. She was just like, not go anyway. She showed up when she needed to. And that's what, and back then, I will say that's the one difference. Back then, people played the vetoes and the competitions way harder than they do now. There was no throwing of the games and stuff like that. There's like, or kind of like playing it off. There was very much, people understood that they had to play. And Janelle was such a player. And I like her as a person too. And her and Casey, I've watched every season of them together. Like it's like I'm a huge fan of both of them. But Janelle is a beast. And I have to say this. I'm going to say this as on here. I know we do predictions over later, but I'm going to say this. I don't think she's gone for good. I don't know. Big Brother always does, expect the unexpected and that crap. I think something can happen.
I can only hope. I watched her interviews with Entertainment Tonight, and there was another one, and they claim she's going home. So I don't want to burst her bubble, but I will say this girl, this woman, I should say, she's there conducting these interviews over Zoom like everyone else, but she's there, they're asking her these questions. She's laid back, lounging, eating grapes. Like
Go on, girl.
I know. I don't know if it's disrespectful or if it's just her personality, but I just love that she's just so comfortable in her own skin, this confidence that she just exudes. She's just enjoying a snack while being interviewed.
Some people, as you know, you and I both are very much this. We are ourselves, and we're ourselves in every situation. And there's no shame. And Janelle's always been this way. And Janelle's somebody who, besides being beautiful and all that kind of stuff, she's smart. She has compassion. She's all these different things, and she's just herself. And plus, again, she's an OG. At this point, like I said, her, Memphis, Kaser, and Enzo all kind of can claim that part. Everybody else came later, which that just bugs the crap out of me. But it's just, they play this game. They know the game. They know the fans. That they get it. They totally get it.
Yeah, they should have made this a little bit more balanced because honestly, if I can't really fault the new players either because I'd say, well, let's get these old heads out of here because they're all like these legends, but they don't have the numbers on their side. So it has gone the direction, I think, which is very predictable, but it's the detriment of the fans who are excited to see these people they haven't seen in 10, 12 years. So. Yes. Yeah.
My thing is, I was talking to a friend of mine because a bunch of us talk about it, and we're wondering if some just simply said no. Like some of the older players, said no, I'm not. That's my past.
I'd love to know who said no.
Or some couldn't do it, or some didn't pass the COVID test or whatever. Like who knows? There's all kind of things that come up. But I feel like there should have been more people before season 10 on the show. Like, why not try to find some of the first and second second season players? And there were some people with some standouts. And for example, I'm just going to give an example right now for me. I don't like Kevin. I was never a fan of Kevin on his season. He's a big crybaby. I don't know why he's on the show. To me, he's the wrong gay on the show. To me, you should have got Marcellus. You should have gave him his chance.
That's an original. That's an original right there.
Yes, it's made one of the biggest, dumbest mistakes in Big Brother history. And I thought, here's a chance for his redemption. And Reagan. And Reagan is somebody he's gay also, but he's smart, and he knows how to play the game. Right now he's doing a lot of commentary, which is really funny. But he knows how to play the game. And I was thinking, there are other folks that could have went from way back. I mean, I know they didn't want to bring on Dr. Will or Dr. Evil. There's some folks I know they didn't want to bring on. But like, where's some of the, first 5 seasons? Why didn't you bring some of those folks back on? Let's see what's happening with them and a better mix.
Totally agree. And if you're going to go in and do an All-Stars, there should have been better representation. I don't need the new faces. However, a couple of people have stood out to me, for good and for bad. Let's start with the bad because it's Grant's Rants. I definitely never needed to see Nicole Franzel again. And this is, I don't understand why we have to have a winner here. I know in the original All-Stars back in season 7, they had a winner, but yes. I don't know why they have to have a winner. They had their moment, their chance in the sun. They won the money. Let other people have a shot. And this one specifically rubs me the wrong way. I don't care for her. I couldn't wait for her to be done. And then she won. She never got evicted. So now we got to sit through this again.
Yes. Speaking. Okay. Sorry, this is a rant. Okay. So so back in the day, I hated Rachel Riley. And I hate she's also another MVP of Big Brother several seasons. She married what's his name and blah blah. But I met her in person like years later, and now I love her. So I was like, if we're gonna bring a winner on or whatever, maybe brought it because she's early on. I would love to see her and Janelle battle it out together.
That would have been fun. Yeah,
that would have been a lot of fun. I mean, again, remember, Grant, you know this. It is ratings plus other stuff that go into picking these
social engagement is a big thing too.
Exactly. And so I thought, okay, so Nicole to me, see, legit, they could have left Nicole at home and brought on her hot man. They could have brought Victor back on. I would have took him on there. That's fine because he didn't,
And that would have been a diverse choice. He's a diverse casting choice. He played the game really well. He came back into the game. He battled back in. Like I didn't mind him. I would have rather see him take the opportunity than her.
Exactly. Yeah. And on Big Brother, they do that sometimes where one will win and there are a couple. They'll bring the other one on. Or there's all kinds of things they do. They didn't do this time. I'm glad. I saw people again. I mentioned Kevin. I don't care for Kevin. Didn't care for I didn't care for neither Nicole. I was like either one like didn't really do anything for me.
Right.
David needs to go.
Absolutely.
Sorry, my fellow black man, but he to me what he did with Davon bugged the F out of me, and I thought because I felt like her. Hey, we're the three black folks in the group. We're not going to vote each other out. Let's just have our own little kind of have each other's backs. And he was so like believing everybody else and stuff like and not. I mean. Like she was telling
you,
he's just a
lousy player. Why are you not believing? He's just a lousy player. He'll tank anyone's game. I don't know why anyone's aligning with him. This is a guy, those who are listening, who has never actually been more than one day in the Big Brother house. Yep. You've got people like this Janelle, who we spoke about earlier, who's played the game 4 times. Exactly. Many of these people, they were doing it on the feed, say they were tallying up. Many of these people have played close to 100 calendar days in the Big Brother house. This guy has 1, and he has no idea what he's doing. He is not an all-star, and don't tell me this is a redemption storyline because no one's hanging out there waiting for David to be redeemed. There are plenty of people who were cut, and when Cameron comes to mind, just like we never saw them again. We don't need this storyline. He's not an all-star. That is a wasted slot.
I agree, and I'm not a fan of Tyler either. I wasn't a fan of him in his season.
Same.
Not a fan. I think it's already too many generic white guys on the show, and I was just like.
I never cared for his gameplay, but I'm happy to see Davon again. I was really pulling for her, and Bailey, who I did not like because I think Swaggy C really brought her game down, and I just didn't like the two of them. But Bailey is a smart player. I'm watching her on the feeds. I'm very intrigued by her. I feel really good about her. Not really winning, but she's a great player as far as she's actually engaging. So I'm feeling like I can people I can change my opinion. So.
Yes, you can. You can.
I feel a little better about her. Well, in this final moment, let's head into our predictions. By now, the public is aware, who's watching Big Brother, that Enzo is head of household. He has nominated Kaser and Kevin. And, I'm not surprised by either of those. 2 very weak nominees, unless there's some backdoor type plan here. I mean, Enzo's a wild card as far as for what we've seen so far in the season. So I didn't know what direction he'd go in, but it seems like he made a safe choice.
I wasn't an Enzo fan back in the day either. I don't have anything for or against him. I always feel like he just connects with the right people and follows along.
Yeah.
But he lucked out this time by winning. But again, he's in this alliance. Like you said, both nominees, not a surprise. Kevin can go. Bye, Kevin. I'm a Kaser fan, so Kevin can go. He adds nothing to the house. He's a big old crybaby. He can go. But the veto is coming up, so we can't. You can't count anything out. And then also, who knows, a twist or two may happen. So my prediction will be that Case is going to stay. I think for a while. I think he's going to survive it. I think for some reason he's going to survive it, and people need to watch out because when he starts to really play. They're going to be. I mean, he's playing, but it's going to be tough. But I think he's going to survive it somehow. I'm not really worried about him for some reason.
Yeah, I have no alliance to him. No allegiance, I should say. No allegiance to Kaser, but I am rooting for him because he got a really raw deal in this house, and they're constantly going for him. And I don't like the people that are trying to push him out. So I'm, again, the underdog. I'm pulling for him.
Yes, but Kevin can go. Kevin can go. Problem. He does nothing for me or the game, so he can go back to his husband, have a good time wherever he comes from, and just back on the show. Yeah, bring back Janelle. Bring back Janelle, folks. Bring her back in the show. Do a bring back competition. Let her win and bring her back in.
They absolutely should. They've got nothing. We have all the time in the world. Just add her back in.
They do. They got all the time in the world right now. I mean, seriously, they have all the time in the world.
Just add it right back in. Yeah. Well, thanks, James. Really, I was looking forward to talking to you about Big Brother because you know your stuff, and this was like the perfect season to talk about because you know all the way back.
Yes. Yeah. I'm an OG of watchers.
Yeah. Well, thanks, James. We'll have to have you on again. Thank you for celebrating 5 years on the Rants.
Congratulations.
Thank
5
you.
years. Rants. You'll never run out of ranting. I know you won't. So let's keep it going.
The ranting continues. I'm joined now by my good friend, Jay Ellis, calling in. Hello.
Happy 5th birthday, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, right, I guess. It's nice to hear from you. I've had so many different people from like that have kind of been present throughout the presence of the podcast. And, you know, we've become good friends because of podcasting, talking about reality TV and pop culture. And you've been on Rants a bunch. So I thought you'd be a great addition to this little special.
Can't you believe
episode.
That our friendship started over finding Prince Charming, and here we are?
Truly, that was the only good thing to come out of that project.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that has stuck other than our friendship.
Well, right, and I'm happy that it's stood the test of time. I'm happy to be on here. It's always a good time to rant with you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, let's talk about a few things because Jay and I both love pop music. You know, we all about Britney too, and I want to get your thoughts real quickly on Britney, but we're going to talk a little bit about how we feel about the incoming of these K-pop groups in a moment. But first, your thoughts on Free Britney. Where are we at?
Free Britney is a movement where I know Paris Hilton said it. It is so sad that we're treating a grown woman like a child, and that we are. It's so public that it's sad that we're at this point where we can't let this woman have a voice in her own life. It's really hard to follow, and I know you're doing great coverage of it, and I mean, you're standing for the cause. It's amazing, and I know you're out there interviewing people at the rallies and stuff, but it is enough is enough. I feel like it's time to just let her live her life. This has been going for years. It's sad.
Yeah, I feel terrible for her that it's just getting the attention now, and this has been a reality for over 12 years. Like, I'm so frustrated for her, and now more people are discovering this, but imagine living it.
It's almost like we're prodding this poor woman and trying to keep her relevant by way of Free Britney.
I mean, her sister is not her new conservator. It's nothing new. I don't know why that's such headline news, but I hope it's a good thing. But it's definitely confused a lot of people. You know, she's just there to foresee when Britney passes away that her sons get their right amount of money. I mean, that's basically it. So there's a lot of work that has to be done there. But let's move into this. I don't even know why I'm talking about this because, Selena Gomez, she's cool, but this group Blackpink, I learned about them from that song. I don't know what adjective to use on that Lady Gaga album, Sour Candy.
Yes, I know.
What do you think? Because I think it's the most stupid song.
Which one, ice cream or sour candy?
Both, but sour candy wins over the two of them.
Both. Sour candy was the highlight of Chromatica for me. I felt like it was at least different.
Same.
And it had it pumped a little bit of energy in from I know, I mean, there's Gaga fans that are so diehard, and I do like Gaga, but Chromatica wasn't it for me. Like I tried it working out, I tried it driving, it just never fit my mood of what I wanted. But Sour Candy kind of popped for me, and I don't know if it was because Blackpink was a part of it.
I think I like Sour Candy because it's the one that has the least Gaga in it.
I'm
just not a big fan anymore. I don't think I am a fan if I don't like any of her music.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's like you're allowed to. You don't have to be. And some people kind of get lost if you don't like their That'd be like if somebody said, "Oh, I don't like Britney." For me, I'm like, "Well, you're wrong."
Yeah,
but
I want to like her. I'm just not finding myself as a consumer and a fan of what she's putting out. So I don't think I am a fan then if I'm not enjoying any of her work. So
with Gaga, her start was so strong for me, Gaga, that I really liked Fame Monster, and then it's been a decline since. I haven't really loved anything as much as I loved those ones, and I think that's where I draw the line. So, but with I know K-pop is huge, and that's where Blackpink is coming from. Is I think there's a South Korean band, and those numbers that they get are huge. Like they're 2 days in on that video, and it's already 190 million views. It's crazy. And I know Selena Gomez is doing that series on HBO Max where it's Selena plus Chef, I think is the name of it. So maybe she's trying to kind of hit a bunch of mediums. She's doing music, she's doing television. I think she's trying to stay relevant right now.
Yeah, I think you have to be multi-hyphenate these days. I actually don't mind Blackpink though. I liked how you like that song. Kill This Love was good, but the thing is, they're just very well produced songs. The girls in the group, none of them stand out to me. There's no like lead one, like, you look at a Dandy Kane or a Pussycat Dolls. Nicole Scherzinger is always trying her best to stay relevant too. But, I just don't see anyone really standing out. I just think they're very well produced songs, and the videos must have tremendous budgets because they're wonderful. They're great to look at, and they have massive sets. So I appreciate it from that perspective. They're decent songs. I just never thought that I would get into like K-pop, but I think this is going to be here to stay. I think this is a real new thing, and I don't think it's going anywhere. BTS is another thing that people love, which I don't get, but I think this is a real thing. What do you think?
I think they're here to stay, and I'm happy about it. We kind of needed to shake up our pop a little bit, and I think that by having an international, because American music has made its way international for so many years. Everybody knows, Britney Spears' music, and I think it's time that we kind of take a different culture and learn their music and their style. And K-pop is so infectious; it's fun. I'm happy. I think I'm a sucker for like a choreographed big group number dance. Like I'm ready for it. So when I see these videos, I'm like, let's do it. I want to learn this.
I do love choreographed dance, and I've been watching those TikToks of the WAP dance like too much, which isn't even that much of a dance, but I'm still enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Let's take a turn and talk about Dorinda Medley leaving the surprisingly fired from the Real Housewives of New York City. But, of course, they always have to make it seem like it was a mutual decision. Like this woman was going to give up this big time contract with Bravo. The only thing that really made her relevant and continues to make her a lot of money. She's going to step away from it. Right.
Yeah, the dry cleaner boyfriend is going to start paying the bills now.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So now I said this on the Roni rundown that I have in this podcast feed. Like, Dorinda is one of Bravo's like least problems. Like the least of their problems, who cares? But it's created quite a stir online. Page 6 talks about apparently they're kind of having second thoughts over there at Bravo about this. And they said something like the door is always open. Dorinda is on pause and the door remains open. Well, I mean, it doesn't seem that way when you fired her and she, made the Instagram post and Andy had to, blow smoke and all that, I mean, it seems kind of phony to me. So I don't know. I looked at Twitter. Most people are split on whether they would like to see her return or not. She has kind of come across as this angry drunk. So I'm surprised. What did you think when you heard the news?
I think that people like to drag these women when they're on TV. And then as soon as they say, well, you're not going to have them anymore, people go, well, wait a minute. I wasn't done with that person yet. Like they don't take her away from me. So they kind of don't understand what they're going to miss until it's gone. And Dorinda, I think your audience knows that I do Vanderpump Rules. I don't watch Housewives regularly. Like I know the characters. But Dorinda's a staple in the franchise. I think she has a strong name in the series. Yeah. And I mean, I can name Clip and her, there's the other one where I cooked, I cleaned, I made it nice. I think is the quote. She has a lot of standout moments. And I'd be surprised if Bravo looks at what the audience reaction is and goes, well, maybe this was good for the show and we just bring her back and she kind of learns not to get so sloppy on set.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if there's more to this where she's just really unpleasant to produce and to work with teams of producers. I think that she likes being in front of the camera, but I don't know. I would believe it if somebody told me she was difficult, but that's not an excuse either. I mean, who isn't? Especially in New York. I mean, that just comes with the turn. All housewives have their ups and downs, but they would always put her front and center at Bravo events and Bravo promos. I mean, she was a very, very popular face. So to cut ties with her seems really stupid. I just don't understand why they would do it unless if she was just pulling stunts that were a liability. I don't know what the hell she did. But now again, money makes money. So Page Six has this whole thing that she has a sweetheart deal with the building she lives in, living rent free in New York. So apparently she has a deal where she had to promote living there. And I remember there was a segment when she first moved in there, and it was like she was so excited that, and I actually liked the segment because it showed like part of her life. It wasn't just people bitching at each other. It was like, oh, well, this woman like moved. She's very excited about her new neighborhood. She was going to get like cheese or something. But I was like, okay. But apparently I was watching a commercial within a show, which I don't like to be manipulated, so I was turned off by this. And then there was an agreement apparently that she had to promote it, but it didn't have to be on the show. Yet she threw many parties in like, I don't know, like group areas where you can like, these buildings, you have like these like event spaces. I remember this last season, they had a tea party there. I don't know if I feel bad for her if she loses this deal. She's not going to be homeless.
Oh, yeah, no, the thing is I think on top of the article on Page Six, they said not only was she living rent free, but she was getting paid on top of that to be in the building. So that way, if it was shown, like, I think she was doing, it was like double duty for the building. And it was used in exteriors for other shows that were based in New York. So this building is banking on people really making it a staple of this, like maybe on a tour they want to go. I don't know what traffic that drives to it, but
right.
I don't know what that does for a building. But I mean, for Full House, everybody knows that iconic building in San Francisco, but does that up the property value? Like, what does that do, I wonder?
I know, I wonder too, because I imagine it's a doorman building, so you can't go in and like take a picture of Dorinda's mailbox. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to think of like, yeah, okay, like I love New York, and I watch New York Housewives. I can't say I'm going to go out of my way to walk by the building. I probably already have. Right. It doesn't matter to me, Yeah,
you don't even know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably like the Sex and the City building. Like, there's ones that just stand out that people know, and I wonder if it just does a lot for that property value. So that's why they're really trying to market it and make it really a desirable location.
Could be.
But you're what you said. She's not going to be kicked out. She's not going to lose her house after this decision. And in my head, this might be, I mean, with Bravo pulling the plug on Stassi and Kristen Doty and stuff, I think this firing or like quitting might just be a rouse up to get everybody kind of on something new, or I don't know, like they might bring her back. So we'll see.
So you're saying there might be life for those other two bitches from Vanderpump Rules?
No, I don't. I think that they burnt their bridges, and Lisa Vanderpump is, unfortunately, she is in a power to like make shows happen, like we're seeing with Vanderpump Dogs. But I think that she knows better than to get involved, because Lisa Vanderpump does not like her name attached to anything soiled, and she has such a hard time getting her name away from these stories right now that I don't think she would attach herself to a Stassi or a Kristen Doty. She's already written off, but Stassi was her moneymaker, and I'm wondering, I'm curious to see how she's going to get her in some capacity back.
Mm-hmm. When we come back in part 3, we're talking Bella Thorne and OnlyFans, and we're getting deep into this year's MTV VMAs.